Okay, hi everybody. Lara Ryan from Complete Test Success here. Today we are looking at IELTS Writing Task 2. I'll show you a Task 2 question. I will get you to respond in various ways by writing different parts of a Task 2 essay. And then I will look at your responses, I will look at your attempts, and I will give you feedback on what things you're doing wrong and what things you need to fix to improve your scores. So the whole lesson is based on what you produce, your writing, and what you can do to improve your scores. So that's basically it. Hello to all of you joining me. And Brothers Gaming, hi to you, and Sood and JPS. Welcome all of you to the lesson. So task 2 is the same for IELTS Writing Academic and IELTS Writing General Training. So this is relevant to everyone. The first thing I would like you to do is write the paraphrase to the question. So writing the paraphrase means you take the question statement at the top of the question and you write it in your own words. So here we have, some people think that cities' most significant problem is the increasing number of cars, while others believe cities have other more important issues. So you take that statement and you rewrite it in your own words. So that's what a paraphrase is. So please go ahead, paraphrase the question, put your paraphrase in the comments, and then I will give you feedback on your attempt. Hello, Facebook user Paramveer. Hello to you. Welcome to the lesson. Hi, Rakwinder. Very good. Brothers Gaming. Thanks for asking. Hi, Sanu. Welcome to the lesson. Doing good. Thanks. Hopefully you're good too. Sud, I gave test, but just 5.5 I scored with the method you described. How can I improve my writing? So it depends what mistakes you're making. You know, you might be making mistakes where your ideas aren't relevant, and that would bring down your task achievement score. You might be making mistakes with cohesive devices or pronouns or structure, and that will bring down your coherence and cohesion score. You might be making vocab mistakes, would bring down your vocab score, and you might be making grammar mistakes, which would bring down your grammar score, of course. So it depends on which mistakes you're making. So when students join my course, I will show them what to do, but I will also look at their mistakes, explain why they're not getting the scores they need, and they will know which mistakes they're making. And that makes it much easier to improve your scores. At the moment, you know that your scores aren't good enough, but you don't know why your scores aren't good enough. So it's difficult for you to know exactly what you need to improve. However, if you're aiming for, like, let's say you're aiming for a band 7, well, then you know you need to improve everything. But if you're aiming for a band 6, well, in that case, you might just need to improve one band score, because it might be the case you got a 6 for task achievement, a 6 for coherence and cohesion, a 6 for grammar, and a 5 for vocab. And in that case, you would only need to improve your vocabulary. So it depends on what score you need, and it depends on what specific mistakes you're making. So when do we have a speaking interview with me? I don't have any plans. We'll be doing a speaking lesson on the 29th of November. So you can definitely come join me then. I also have one-on-one service on my website, so you can use that as well. Can we use an interrogative sentence? Use Kursk task 2. Can we use interrogative sentence in task 2? Give me 1 second now. Can you ask a question? I needed to check what interrogative meant. Yes. No, you cannot ask questions in part 2. No, you just need to provide the information. Okay, Rohit has our first paraphrase. Several people imagine that higher numbers of cars are a major problem in cities, but others feel that there are other noticeable problems. Okay, so you get the idea, but some of your vocabulary doesn't have the same meaning. And one thing in particular, in the question, it says most significant problem. And you just said that it is a major problem, and that's different. So what we're arguing about isn't if it is a big problem or not. Maybe everybody agrees it's a big problem, but what we're disagreeing on is if it's the most significant, if it is the biggest problem. And in your paraphrase, that information isn't clear. So your paraphrase isn't 100% successful. So thanks, sir. I want to use all those criteria which you follow and practice them to improve writing in next attempt. Yeah, excellent. And get involved in this lesson as well. When I see your writing, I will tell you specific things that you're doing wrong. Okay, Sanu, some individuals think that cities' most important issue is the growing number of automobiles, whereas cities have other significant problems. Think by other individuals. The structure there, think by other individuals at the end, is unclear. So we'll put that at the front. Having said that, that's actually a relatively good phrase. All the information is there. We're just looking at some grammatical issues. So I'm going to take Sanu's paraphrase and I'm going to add that to the question document here. So some individuals think that cities' most important issue is the growing number of automobiles, whereas other individuals think, well, let's just change that, believe that cities have other more significant. So we're not saying that they have other significant problems. We can agree with that. The problem is that they have other more significant problems. So basically what we're saying, the first group are saying the growing number of automobiles is the biggest problem. And the second group is saying the growing number of automobiles is not the biggest problem. So that's what they're saying. So it's not just that there are other problems, it's that it's not the biggest problem. So that's what the second view is. We're trying to decide, is it the biggest or is it not the biggest problem? So the first group say it is, the second group say it is not. And that's essentially what the question is asking us. Okay. So I know some of you have not shared your paraphrases yet, and I will give you feedback, but let's move on to the next task as well. So the question is, what main ideas can we use for this question? So we're going to need ideas to support each view. Why do some people think that the growing number of cars is the biggest problem? Why do some people think that the growing number of cars is not the biggest problem? So that's what we need. We need to have main ideas and reasons why each people have those views, why each group of people have those views. Okay. Wakar. Okay, sir, I will join you on 29th November and we will have a speaking interview and I will try my best for students that how they have to give answer and how long, because I'm one who has done at all. Okay, thanks, Wakar. Jatinder, it is thought by group of individuals that crucial obstacles is the huge amount of cars. So obstacle wouldn't really have the same meaning in this context. Issue, problem. Opposite feel that metropolis have numerous prominent beliefs. Okay, so I just want to discuss your answer a bit more in that a lot of students, a lot of candidates do this where they feel like the best way to get a high IELTS score is to use just as wide a range of vocabulary as possible. But the problem here is that you're using vocab that you don't understand. So you're using the word obstacle and crucial. Prominent, benefits, like none of those words have the meaning that you want them to have. So like what you have to think, what your main goal is to make your message, to make your paraphrase completely clear. So if I read it, I don't need to guess what you mean. But at the moment, you're using vocabulary incorrectly. And it doesn't mean that you don't have good vocab. What it means is that the way you're approaching the IELTS test is you're approaching it like, I can improve my scores by using words that I don't understand. And that's not true. You're reducing the clarity. And you have to remember there are 4 scores. It's task achievement, coherence and cohesion, vocab, and grammar. Vocab is not the only score. So you're putting too much emphasis on vocab and you're trying to use vocab you're not comfortable with. And what you're doing is you're going to get a lower score than you're capable of. So you're not actually bringing up your score, you're bringing down your score. And your writing and your answer will be much better if you use more simple vocab, because that will make it clearer and easier to understand. So I understand why you're doing it, but you can definitely improve your writing by reducing the range of vocabulary and focusing more on the clarity and the communication. JPS, there are some people who feel that increasing in number of cars is a major obstacle in cities. So another obstacle, that wouldn't be the right word, while others feel other issues are more important than that in cities. Okay, so you have some grammar issues, article mistakes, that you should address. And then with the vocabulary, like I just said to Jatinder, don't force yourself to use such a wide range. Anonymous Dev, it is believed that the increase in the number of people using cars, so that should be plural, poses the most serious problem to cities. However, others, it should be plural, others would argue that there are more other issues we should focus on. So you forgot the adjective, more what? More significant, more important, more something. We need another word after more. Besides that, that's a good paraphrase. I have somebody sharing spam in the comments. So 1 second now. Okay. Enjoy English. It is argued by some that the most important issue in cities, so you've made 2 article mistakes so far, is and then the increasing number of automobiles. So you've made 3 mistakes, they're all with articles. While others think that cities have another issue, another issue means one issue. So the word another means one more. So while others think that cities have other issues which are more significant. Okay, so just the meaning of the word another means one more, and then be careful with articles. Okay, Sud says there is a belief that increasing number of cars, so it'd have to be the increasing number of cars is the major problem in cities. So we need that information. Another view, however, is that there are other more significant issues. Not there are other significant issues. Other significant issues mean other problems, and everybody would agree with that. But other more significant issues, meaning more significant than the number of cars. Be careful with your punctuation. The first sentence should start with a capital letter. Sonu, who think increasing number of card is more significant problems because recent time most of individuals have personal own vehicle, they use it rather than public transport. No. So what you're doing here, Sanu, you are explaining why there are an increasing number of cars. And that's not the information that I need. I don't need to know why are there more cars. I need to know why do some people think that that is the biggest problem in cities. So not how or why are there more cars, but why do some people believe that is the biggest problem? So this is actually irrelevant. This idea is not addressing the view in the question. You're talking about the topic in the question, but that does not make it relevant. So the question isn't about why are there more cars, it's about why do some people believe that the increasing number of cars is the biggest problem. So be careful with that. Hi Alexia, welcome to the lesson. You got the exam on the 10th of November, 2 days. Okay, best of luck with that, Sonu. The individuals who believe the increasing motor vehicles are the most significant problem in cities, they think this because it clogs the roads with transport, while those who think it is not. Okay. So yeah, because it clogs the roads, clogs up the roads, it causes. Yeah, that's good. We can work with that. Okay, so let me take that idea. I know you didn't have enough. I know you didn't have enough words to finish your comment there, but we'll just look at this much. The individuals who believe that increasing numbers of motor vehicles. Now, I know the word vehicles is plural. Sorry, am I sharing my screen? I am. The word vehicles is plural, so you're thinking vehicles are, but actually the noun here is increasing numbers. Oh, so increasing numbers is still the increasing numbers. Okay, that increasing numbers still are. Excuse me, I'm talking nonsense. Ignore me. But what we're looking at is the word numbers, not the word vehicles. Okay, the increasing number of motor vehicles are the most significant problem in cities. The individuals who believe that increasing number of vehicles are the most significant problem in cities. So this is, we don't need they, this is the subject. So you've just described who we're talking about. So this is the subject of the sentence, and then this is the verb. Think this because it clogs up the roads with, let's just say it clogs up the roads. Okay, and then we need an idea for the other side. While the others feel that, and then we'll say what we need to find a main idea for the other view. Okay. Hey Gaurav, welcome to the lesson. Hey Jesse. Okay, a section, so this is the paraphrase, paramvir. A section of society believe that the increase in the number of cars is a main cause of concern. No, because they might have other things that they're more worried about. You know, it doesn't mean that that's their biggest concern. You know, they might be more worried about their job or their family or their health. But what we're saying is that they believe it's the biggest problem in the city. So it's the biggest problem for the city. It's not necessarily their personal biggest problem, but we're talking about, you know, the problems that cities have. So you need to make it clearer that we're talking about, you know, that it's the main problem for cities, not for people. So before the word while, you need a comma. While others assert that there are other, and again, not other important issues. So a lot of you have made this mistake. We're not saying that there are other important issues. The question says other more important issues. So that's very significant. And this word is something that a lot of you are not paying attention to. So like I might think that, let's say I have the first view. This is my opinion. I can still say there are other important issues, but what I will not agree with is that there are other more important issues. So the difference being, I can agree with this, what you've said in your paraphrase here, Paramveer. I can agree with that even if I have the first view. But with the word more, I cannot agree with it. And that's why there are two views, that these two groups of people disagree with each other. So it's that word more is very important. Okay, Rohit. Cars cause air pollution because of carbon emissions. Good. So we're saying that it's the biggest problem because it's causing air pollution. Very good. 2, Other important issues can be outdated infrastructure, poor quality education, and less advanced transportation. Okay, so a few things here, Rohit. That's 3 ideas, and really, we don't. That's not. We only need 1 idea for each view. We also need 1 idea for our opinion, so we can use more than 1 of these. Now, the other thing is, you're telling me what other problems are, but what we want to say is that the other problems are bigger. They're bigger problems than the increasing number of cars. So it's not just what problems do they think are more important. We need to say, why are they more important than the growing number of cars? So we would have to say other more important issues are outdated infrastructure. But what type of infrastructure? That's a bit vague. Are we talking about transportation infrastructure? And if we are, that's the same. Okay, let's take poor quality education and less advanced transportation. So you're talking about transportation at the end. It seems like that's the same idea as the first view, not the second view. So I'd be worried about that. But let's take poor quality education. Okay, while the others feel that poor quality education is a more serious problem. Okay, my opinion is that, or let's say I agree with, and we're going to say former or latter view, because so we need 1 more idea. So whenever I get another relevant idea, if the next relevant idea is for the first view, then I will say I agree with the former. If the next relevant idea we find is for the second view, then I'll say I agree with the latter, and then we'll use that. So let's just stay looking at ideas. We don't have all the ideas that we need yet. Gaurav, it is believed by some that rising count of cars is most of our roads. Okay, good. So we'll just stay with the ideas. Air pollution, good. Improve health system, good. Okay, let's use that. Okay, so here's our outline. The individuals who believe that increasing numbers of motor vehicles are the most significant problem in cities think this because it clogs up the roads, while others feel that poor quality education is a more serious problem. I'm going to have to change this actually. My opinion is that poor healthcare is the most significant, is the issue that requires attention most. Okay, so now we have our 3 ideas. So our first one is that it clogs up the roads. Okay. So then we're going to move to our first body paragraph, and we're going to say that we're going to say that the impact of traffic congestion, the impact of traffic congestion means that so that would be our topic sentence. So now what we need to say is how are we going to develop that? So that's the next thing that we need to look at. So how can we develop this idea that traffic congestion is why some people have that belief? Okay, so I'm just trying to get everything on screen here at the same time. You know what I'll do? I'll just make this one smaller, and then we'll be able to see the bits that we're looking at. Okay. Okay, so that's the question. This is the first sentence of our body paragraph. And then the task for you is, how can we develop this idea? So we're going to have to explain it or give examples. So how are we going to explain this idea? How are we going to support the view further? Lamla says, it is essential to write background statement in the introduction. Nope, I actually recommend that you don't, because it doesn't improve your score. Enjoy English learning. The main issue, because they think increasing unemployment in the city centres is the main problem. Yep, so you need the article, but the idea is very good. The idea is relevant and specific. They face difficulty while commuting. Perfect. Yeah. We think that the increasing number of cars is a significant problem because most of the roads are facing problem of traffic congestion. Good. It is a debatable issue that some individuals think that growing... It's not a debatable issue that some people think that. Some people think that. So we're not debating whether people think that or not. We're just debating which one is more significant. Whether the growing number of cars is the most significant or something else is the most significant. So some individuals think that growing numbers of private vehicles in urban areas are causing various problems such as traffic jams, good, and pollution, good. However, others believe... Okay, we'll get to your ideas later. Did you start by rephrasing or the background statement? Rephrasing, just paraphrase the question first. Hello, IELTS student. Some support the former view because cars lead to pollution, while others support the latter view due to over-pollution. That's the same idea, pollution and pollution. I am in favor of the former view because cars cause more road fatalities. More cars cause more. So you'd have to say more cars cause more road fatalities. You'd have to say more. Because it's not... Oh my God, you did. I don't know what's wrong with me. My eyes skipped over more. Yes, what you said makes sense. Sorry for the confusion. JPS, while others think environmental pollution is the main issue, as people are going to become the victim of many health issues. While others think environmental pollution is the main issue, as people are going to become the victim of many health issues. Personally, I prefer a growing number of vehicles are the one to top the problems. Growing number of vehicles is the most significant problem. Yep, but we also need the main idea. Why do you think that? So not just what do you think, but why do you think that? So we want the... Oh, here we go. Because it leads to accident issues. Because it leads to accidents. Good, 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 good. Okay, good job. Run life of private transport is considered to be the most vulnerable in our current era, is assumed by a number of society members. That's very unclear. You're using vocabulary that doesn't clearly communicate your ideas. So it's not easy to understand your points. Or your point. So just lack of clarity because of poor vocabulary choice. While others try to highlight it, other problem like education problem, food problems, and so on. So just choose one, don't choose many. From my perspective, I would like to say there are many crucial problems exist in our society. So the question isn't about whether there are or are not many crucial problems. The question is about what is the most significant problem. Is it the increasing number of cars or is it something else? So your opinion isn't relevant. And Mim, we talked about this earlier on. So back at the beginning of the lesson, I was looking at, I think it was Rohit's answer. No, Jatindra's answer. And we were talking about, how putting too much emphasis on vocabulary and making vocabulary the biggest focus of your writing results in unclear writing like this. So your focus should be clarity. Your focus does not need to be on, range of vocabulary. That's not how to get a good score. You have to be clear. First and foremost, you have to be clear. That's way more important than using like a wide range of vocab. If you're using a wide range of vocabulary accurately, that of course is relevant. That is good. But if it's not accurate, then you're not doing what you need to do. Before we continue, I just want to share a link with you guys too for my free live feedback lessons. So every week on Zoom, I have free group classes on Zoom for my subscribers. So just click on the link in the comment, or you can find the link in the video description as well. So click on that and sign up, and then you can join me on Zoom for lessons on IELTS reading, writing, listening, speaking, task 1, task 2, general training, academic, the whole thing. We cover everything. So those are free lessons. Sign up with the link, and then you will see the schedule, and you will be able to join me for more free classes and more support there. Sonu, this is because most individuals using personal vehicle rather than public transport. No, so we're back to the same thing now, Sonu, where you're describing why there are more vehicles, not why more vehicles is the most significant problem. Population, Gaurav, I missed that now. Overpopulation. Yes. Okay, good. As long as it's a different issue, that makes sense. Hi, Tota. We can talk about the result of traffic congestion, like noise pollution and disturbing people. Yeah, you can. As long as you're saying it's as long as you're saying why it is the most significant problem, you're doing what you need to do. So, the growing number of cars is the biggest problem because of the amount of noise pollution that it causes. Noise pollution is very bad for people's health, and it's known to cause mental health problems. And therefore, the rising number of vehicles is going to have a massive impact on people's long-term health conditions. You can definitely do that. But what you have to do is you have to explain why people think it's the biggest problem. So any way you approach it to explain why it is the biggest problem is perfect. As long as your ideas are relevant and specific, you're doing what you need to do. Okay, so I'd just like to remind everybody of the task that we have at the moment. It seems like we're not quite on task. So down here, this is the task. How can we develop this idea? And the idea is the little bit that I've highlighted in yellow. So the idea that we're looking at is some feel the impact of traffic congestion means that the growing number of cars in cities is the biggest problem. So now further develop, why do they think that? Or why is it the biggest problem? So we need more development on this first idea. Gaurav, to elaborate, it is very obvious that if the number of cars is increasing, there will be more cars on the roads at the same time. In Delhi, for instance, it can be seen that near festival days, when a lot of cars are purchased due to low price, many accidents are seen because of massive traffic congestion. So you're not really addressing the question here. So in your explanation, you're not explaining why it's the biggest problem. You're explaining to me what traffic congestion is. You're saying more cars means more cars on the road. More cars on the road means there will be more cars on the road. But that's what the question says, that there are a growing number of cars on the road. So, we can't, the explanation isn't what does growing number of cars mean. The explanation is why would somebody think that traffic congestion is the biggest problem in a city? growing number of cars in the city centre will lead to traffic congestion. It can be seen in many cities during peak time. Roads get clogged with transportation, even the roads which are only for motorbikes get filled with cars and other big transport. For instance, in Delhi, many people are purchasing new vehicles, which lead to the pollution and road jams. Again, no. So we're not really explaining. So far, nobody's really explained why that makes it the biggest problem. So you don't just talk about traffic congestion. Don't explain that more cars means more traffic congestion. I want you to explain, why is it the biggest problem? Why would somebody think that traffic congestion is the biggest problem? How many times a writing answer is checked in the real test? Once. It's checked once. Unless you go for an EOR, but in general, it will be checked once. Need to replace view 1 with air pollution. We could, if you wanted. If you wanted, we could, yeah. Is it necessary to make a separate body paragraph for our own opinion? The instruction I give my students is to do that. There are other ways to do it, but it is the most logical and straightforward way. So it's the way that I recommend. It's not the only way, but it is the way I recommend. Okay, so we looked at this. Okay, what I mean that most of cars are fulfilled by cars, which make it impossible for everyone to reach their destination. In India, for instance, students often face the problem while going out to school. Okay, so here's why it's the biggest problem. That makes sense. So JPS is saying the issue is that it slows everybody down and people are losing time. So that's why traffic congestion, that's why we would say that traffic congestion, why some people believe that the growing number of cars is the biggest problem, because they're losing time every day. That's why they feel it's the biggest problem. It's the one that they're experiencing. So why do they feel that that's an issue? So this is exactly what we want. Okay, so let me just grab this. And I will add it to the paragraph. Let me just tidy up my screen here so we can all see what we're looking at. Okay. Okay, so most of the roads are filled with cars, which makes it impossible for everyone to reach their destination in a reasonable amount of time. In India, for instance, students often face this problem while going to school. Let's do this. In India, for instance, many people need to spend several hours each day stuck in traffic to get to commute to and from work. So now what we're looking at is why people feel that the number of cars is a problem, because they're losing time. This is why it's a problem for them. They're losing time. This is why they're not happy. Okay, so that makes sense. Good. So then our next question, or our next point, let me just tidy up my screen here. Others feel that poor quality education is a more serious problem. I'm just going to copy and paste this. If you have the language ability to paraphrase it, that's what you should do. But right now, I just want to move forward with the lesson. I think it's more important that I can give you guys as much feedback as possible. Okay. So I'm just making that smaller, so we don't need to read it anymore. I just want to make it clear that, you know, we're still talking about paragraph 3 here. Okay, So we're now looking at a new idea. Others feel that poor quality education is a more serious problem. Okay, so that brings me to probably the final task of the lesson. It's the same task. How can we develop this idea? But it's a new idea. So how can we develop the idea that poor quality education is more serious than the number of cars on the road? Okay. Tota, it is the biggest problem because the huge amount of gases and exhaust fumes this causes greenhouse gases and climate change. That would be another reason. That wouldn't be, so we were saying that the biggest problem, it was because of traffic congestion. And now you're saying it's because of pollution. So this idea would be appropriate, but it would not be appropriate development of the previous paragraph that we were looking at. So if you're trying to say that this is development of the previous paragraph, then no. If you're saying that this is a different idea, then yes. This is because whenever we travel to one another city, it takes too much time to reach their destination because of traffic congestions. Good. I wouldn't say to another city, just around a city would be enough. So it's about inside the city, not between cities. But yes, losing time, definitely, that works. Good. And Alexia, because the increasing amount of traffic makes people late to their destination due to slow moving cars. So the idea is fine, just those grammar mistakes that I corrected when I was reading out your answer. Sir, I always find both view question time really difficult. Is there any trick which can be used to avoid facing this problem of question in our exam day? After how much time this essay type comes? How often? This question, it's like the second most common question in the IELTS test. It's very common. But one thing to think about as well is, like, a lot of students and a lot of candidates, when they're trying to think of ideas, so you have like the first view, most significant problem is increasing number of cars. So when you're trying to say, why do people believe this, you can say why this is true, or you can say why the opposite is not true. Or you might think, like, while others believe cities have more important issues. So what you can do is you can try to say why another issue is more important, or you can try to say why this problem is not important, is not the most important. So, you don't just have to think about why this is right. You might also think about why this is wrong, which is essentially the same thing, but it opens you up to different perspectives and can sometimes make it easier to think of ideas. If the education system of cities lag behind, then it will lead to the problem of less job opportunities and increase the unemployment in the city centres. Yep, you don't need an apostrophe for centres. Good. Okay, good. That works. Okay, let me copy that. Okay. If the education system in cities falls behind their counterparts, I think we're saying fall behind has to mean, like, that other cities have better education systems than the cities that we're referring to with bad traffic. But let's just say isn't good enough. I think that's easier. Then it will lead to the problem of fewer job opportunities in these places and an increase in the unemployment rates of these, not city centers necessarily, just the cities themselves. Okay, good. That's what we're looking to do. One thing I would say, these paragraphs are a little bit short. So, you know, each one, we would aim for about 70 words. That's about 44. So yes, the development is appropriate, but it wouldn't be enough. So we would need to develop that further. Okay, so that's basically it. We're not going to have time to get through another idea. So what I'm going to do for the rest of the lesson, I'm just going to look at the remaining comments and I'm going to answer any other questions that you guys have. So no more tasks. I'm just going to finish giving feedback to those of you who have given your responses. And if you have questions about IELTS, please feel free to type your questions into the comments. Okay. It is the biggest problem because the huge amount of gases and exhaust fumes, and this causes greenhouse gases and climate change. So did we look at that already? No. We did. Okay, here we are. Okay. Others say poor quality of education is the major problem because many students, or many people, I think people is a better choice, are not aware about improving their lives, due to which they face poverty, which causes their low expectancy of what? You have to say what their expectancies, what they're expecting. And people are not aware about improving their lives. I would say people are not capable of improving their lives. So, you know, if they don't have the education to improve, like get a good job and get a good income. So rather than not aware about, but not capable of, I think would make more sense. Jasleen, the biggest problem is overpopulation because many people are migrating to cities to get good facilities, and demand of facilities increases the price, which leads to inflation. Yeah, good. Because many individuals face problems in their academics and they are not able to study in rural areas because of lack of guidance by their tutors. So we don't need to talk about rural areas. The question is specifically about cities, so we need to focus on that, Sonu. Gaurav, explanation. This is because if children of a city, if the children in a city do not get quality education, we don't need and because you said this is because, comma, if. So if means we don't need the word and. So delete and. If children from a city do not get quality education, they may become involved in crime and drugs due to being undereducated. Yep, good. In India, for instance, in cities where education sectors are the worst, where education systems are the worst, children do business of selling drugs. Just children sell drugs, which leads to a drop of the status of their cities. Okay, good. Ragad, in other words, when children have a good quality of education, this means they will have more opportunities to have jobs in the future. Therefore, they will have better lives, in plural. Yep, good. Can you give me a class for tomorrow only? Yeah, I have a class tomorrow. I mean, it's open for everybody, Sonu, so I'm not going to stop other students from coming. But I do have one-on-one services as well. So let me just share those with you. So I have one-on-one, so it could be one-on-one speaking tests or one-on-one essay corrections. And I also have full courses. You said your IELTS test is in 2 days. So my courses would not be suitable for you. You know, I would need more time with my students to help them improve. 2 days wouldn't be enough for my course, but certainly my one-on-one corrections, you know, you can use that. You can use those services, and I'll be able to guide you. Not necessarily like you could improve your vocab or your grammar in 2 days, but you might improve your vocab or grammar scores in 1 or 2 days. Because what you might find is, like we were looking at some students writing earlier on, where they were using vocab that didn't clearly communicate their ideas, and therefore they were bringing down their vocab score. So if you're making that type of mistake, you know, you can fix that quite quickly. But if you are looking to improve your overall vocab level, your actual general English level in 2 days, that's not possible. So with the one-on-one corrections, you know, there's a good chance for me to find specific problems that you're having. Yeah. Could we retake single IELTS module if we need? No, that has not been confirmed yet. No. Sorry, I'm not sure what that's about, JPS. I forgot your previous comment. Would you please give us tips for reading? Sure. If you just go to, let me pull it up. I'll just get, I have a link I'll share with you here. So Facebook user, just look in the comments and you'll see I shared a link. It just says reading lesson and a link. So click on that. Do you do mock speaking tests? I do, Ragad. Yep, I do mock speaking tests. In fact, I do a lot of mock speaking tests. Most of my mock speaking tests are with the students on my course. So as part of the speaking course, you get lessons, but you also get practice tests and one-on-one workshops. So most of the speaking tests I do are with students that have joined my courses. Gaurav, sir, is there any importance of eye contact during our speaking test? No, there is not. Actually, I don't have a habit to make eye contact during my speaking. That's fine. Do whatever you're most comfortable doing. You have too many things to think about already. So if you start to introduce some other aspect to concern you, you're just making things unnecessarily complicated. You know, at the moment, just focus on speaking. If you don't normally make eye contact, don't. If you normally do, then do. Do whatever is most natural for you and focus on the things that do affect your score. Mock speaking test without joining the course. Yep. I offer that service as well, Ragad. You'll find that here. Excuse me. You'll find that here with the same link. So one-on-one corrections, and I have IELTS courses. So yep, you'll find them there. Gaurav, you're very welcome. Okay, so just to finish up, what we looked at here on the screen was introduction. We had one paragraph about the first main idea, which supported the first view, one paragraph about the second main idea, which supported the second view. And then what we need is one more paragraph to support our own view. And we had a separate idea for that. Of course, then you finish up with the conclusion. So the conclusion will just repeat your opinion and repeat your three main ideas. And that is the full essay. Of course, you know, we didn't have time because I was giving you feedback on each little bit as we went along. But we have done, you know, we have seen everything you need to do. You need another paragraph and you need to develop it in the same way. We already have all the main points. So most of the work has been done. Even though we didn't finish the essay, you should have a good idea of how to do that. I think that's pretty much it for today. I'll be back next week. I have another live stream next Tuesday. Like I said, my free live feedback lessons, sign up for those. You can sign up with the link in the video description. There's one of those tomorrow, so I'll see you there if you're joining me for that. And besides that, yeah, take care of yourselves, and best of luck to those of you who have your tests coming up. Okay, bye-bye, everyone.